Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. So, we are now in the PTU, open PTU, all waves. We are testing engineering. Now, if you have followed a little bit along here, and I'm sorry I haven't made any videos to sort of justify what I'm claiming here, but please believe me when I say that I have actually tested this. So, let's talk a little bit about what has been done. I don't want to go really deeply into what engineering is. Basically, it should have been a way, and I say should have. You can probably guess where this is heading. It should have been a way for, in my opinion at least, to mitigate what has been for a very long time called the light fighter meta, meaning that light fighters are the all in all. I know this is a medium fighter. It's a super Hornet we're standing with here. But the principle is basically the same. They have for a very long time been able to kill big ships, something like even a hammerhead that is literally made to kill fighters, and because they could swirl around it and hit it outside the turret range. So with engineering, we have gotten armor, not maelstrom armor, but a sort of a kind of a placeholder for how armor is supposed to be, and it works. But it doesn't work that well. Before we get into the game, let's take a look at some numbers, because numbers they're always good. All right, let's quickly go over what they have done in the PTU so far. When I started, they changed weapon damage down. They increased, let me just give you an example of that right here. So let's take from, I'm pretty sure it was this one, and let's take the Perseus. No. So let's see. This one. All right. So as you can see here, they changed the durability from 76,000 to 57,000. So they started with the armor health being 76,000. They changed the multiplier from being 0.6 to 1, meaning that all physical damage comes through. And let me give you another example from one of the earliest changes. So let me see, it should be this one here. Let's take the Perseus as an example again. So, as you can see, they added health, 76,000. They added a physical multiplier, 0.6, meaning that only 60% of the damage comes through. Now the multiplier is 0.85, so it's 85% of the damage that you can say that they have they subtract 15% of damage. Energy is still 30%, and all of these are the same as far as I know. They've changed these a little bit around, but what they did was they changed the shield from 104,400 to 27,000. Now you can probably say to yourself, that is really an incredible big nerf. Yeah, it would have been, except for the fact that they also, let's see, all hardpoint weapons. Let's just take the Revenant. Oh, if I could spell Revenant Gatling. So, changed the mass a little bit. The health was severely nerfed from 1650 to 57. Lifetime was increased a lot. Damage multipliers was decreased physical from 1 to 0.6, so that's a 40% decrease. Self-repair, you can repair it. We're going to talk a little bit about all of these things during testing here. Signatures was added, but the most important thing was ammunition speed was increased. Lifetime was decreased. Range severely decreased. Now this is important. Capacity increased. Damage physical was reduced. Impact was reduced from 52.7 to 4.43. Base penetration distance is a measure of how well they can come through the armor. Spin up, all of that, but let's get to the important part. Damage per shot, 4.43. Damage per second, 101. From 1054 to 101. It's 90%. So remember, they decreased the shields by 70%, but they decreased, for example, the damage here. I think it was a little bit different. I think it was about 70% for the energy weapons. We can take a look at a CF4. But 101.89 was DPS. Significant reduction. Let's take the CF4, the Rhino repeater, and we can take a look at the same again. You can see the health was increased exponentially here, and I think that must have been an error. Consumptions, because it's energy. Speed was reduced a little bit. Lifetime range 1230 reduced. Impact damage energy was reduced to 17.1. Base penetration basically the same as, interestingly enough, the Revenant, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, no, it's actually less, 1.2. Maybe this is modified and means that less comes through. I'm not sure about that. Damage per shot 17.1, and energy damage per second 213.75. So significant reduction. You can see it's about 74%. That's the same as the shields. This was reduced 92%, so a great deal. Let's compare that in this build with, let's get back to the Perseus and take a look at some of the numbers again. So, armor was 76,000, remember that? So you have health of armor is 76,000. You have cannons that can do about, what was it, about 200? Let's just say 200 damage per second. Let's do a little bit of quick calculation here on my phone. So let's see, 76,000 divided by 200. That's 380 seconds. That would mean about 6 minutes of continuous fire in order to just deplete the health of the armor. And again, remember, shields were reduced to 27,000, but again, that's still about let's see, 60. It'll take about 2 minutes to deplete the shields. That's the total shield. It's a quadrant, so you need to divide it by 4. Let's just do that just for good measures. 33 seconds. So remember those numbers here for the Perseus. So let's take a look at it now. Remember what they did to change the log. Let's just look at one of the, let's go in here. I have one ready here. That's the Polaris. Let's take the Super Hornet. So I have made a loadout of Revenant Gatlings. Actually, I reverted this back to the, can't remember what the original was, but I reverted it back. But in any case, you can see we have 1196, 1762, 748. All in all, the pilot DPS is about 4,902. There is this 15%, you can see it here, 15% physical reduction in damage. But if we go over and take a look at the Perseus, you can see. Alright, so let's take a look. Shields, 81,000 now. Did they change those now? Let's just take a look. It's the newest one here. Yes. Let's take the Perseus. No. Alright, let's take a look at this one here. I think there was a... I think there was a change here. Perseus, yes. So, you can see the physical was changed from 1 to 0.85. That's a 15% reduction. Fuses now get 100%. From 0.1 to 1 penetration damage multiplied. Base loadout was changed from 27,000 to 81,000. Remember, the shield started with 104,000 or thereabout. Let's just take a look at the initial one here. Precious health, yeah, shields 104,000 to 27,000. So we have a reduction of shield, but the energy weapons, the weapon damage has gone up. So you can imagine, and you can see the health points of the armor was changed from 76,000, I remember, with lowered weapons damage to now 57,000 with the current damage model. Not going to do any calculations. We're going to go into the game and we're going to test it out and see if it's still as horrible as it was before. I will get back into the game and then we'll see what is going to happen. See you in a bit. I am terribly sorry. It turns out that I turned off the recording. I am not exactly sure where I ended up. So let me just start over here. We are at the engineering terminal in the Polaris. And as you can see here, I have enabled systems. I can also enable doors. Right now the hangar door is open. We also have the outer door here. I can open that if I wanted to the cargo area. I can open doors anywhere in the ship. I can also go and take a look at, for example, we have the power plant here, so we can see wear and tear is 100%. It should say durability, I think, because if wear and tear is 100%, then it should be completely worn. But that's a digression, I guess. Health is 100% and temperature is 127.84. And if I'm not mistaken, we have a couple of pips here. So if I put some extra into the cooler, the power plant should maybe go down in temp. No. So there is a... but if I turn the cooler off, this cooler failure. And now you should be able to see the temperature rise. Take a look at the shield gen. Maybe there is a bug with the cooling systems as well. But in any case, I'm going to just turn it on just to be on the safe side. As you can see, I've removed some pips from in here. We can add pips, we can remove. Over here, you have a complete overlook of all the pips you have enabled with the engines. If you lose fuses, let me just see if I can find a fuse box somewhere around here. Let's go into the 3D view. We have a relay maybe on the top floor. So this is the quantum drive, or are the relays? Let me just here. And so let's just see if I begin to yank fuses out. Still running. But the minute I pull this one out, you can see it becomes red. So it needs fuses. If I go back to the terminal here, I should have a couple of red. First of all, you can see the safe hab lost power. And you can see we have an issue here with the Let me see if I can find. Yeah, you can see. I can't pick it up, but you can see it's red. And if I hold the mouse over, you can see. Yeah, there it says relay missing fuses. If I go into config, you can see we lost 3 power pips here. We still have no life support generators off because we yanked the fuses. So I think that's a change that they made. Let's just go back and put them back. So you lose power to that part of the ship. The life support system is there. So let's put it back. And now we should have power to the now we can put power back to the life support, and we have no missing pips. So it's only when you lose all your fuses, so there's sort of fuses are kind of a backup, if you will. Redundancy. We love redundancy. And let's put the last one back. See if I can close the fuse box. There we go. Alright, so that's basically how fuses work. What we can also have, let me show you here. So you can see we have 2 systems up here. We have penetration damage mitigated by remaining armor. So as long as you have a weapon that can do penetration, the armor will basically soak that damage instead of the hull or the components. So what we're going to do when I take off with the Hornet, we're going to shoot somewhere in the middle of the ship. First off, we're going to shoot only the revenants. No, yeah. Yeah, no, let's take the SPs, the Super Hornet turrets, size 5 Gatlings. We're going to shoot them somewhere random on the hull and on the ship. That should deplete the armor. So the armor is not granular as far as I know. It's sort of an overall health pool, which is also a little bit annoying because that means that you can, if you shoot one of the engines or whatever you shoot at, you can just deplete armor by shooting one place. And in order to get sort of an idea of exactly how strong the armor is now in this build here, we are going to go in here and turn off the shield gen. That gives a lot of pips, but need to see exactly how strong the armor is. And I'm just going to shoot some random place on the hull. Try not to hit any vital parts. So I will see you out there in a little bit. Alright, we're now outside the ship. I have targeted the Polaris and the shields are off. Let me just make sure that we got the right weapons. So let's see. We want the we also got the we got the let's try the TMSB 5s first. Do a quick let's just say 3-second burst on the Polaris. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Let me see if we can see anything. Yeah, there's clear damage, so there's definitely something there we can try to repair. All right. Get out of the Hornet. On our way back down to the terminal. Let's see what happened. 95%. That's not too bad, actually. So maybe they changed a little bit with the penetration or something like that. I'm not sure. But still, if you think of it, it's a size 5 weapon. It's on a medium fighter, and I was able to penetrate it by 95%. I removed 95% of the armor by just shooting it like that. Now you can say a lot of things, but I would argue that that should not be possible. In any case, let's turn on the shields. Full power to the shields, and let's go out and see if we can actually repair the armor. All right, so as you can see, here's the damage that I made. Let's see if we can repair it. Alright, it does say repair not needed. See, it looks like when you repair the car, you get this little patch that's no paint on. Before let us go check it, and then I will go down and get some more salvage material. I don't think we need it, but just to be sure. Because we have the unwilling Titan Renegade that will definitely... It will help us get some material. Actually, it's 92% now. It's worse. I am not sure I can get that to make any sense. Alright, so don't repair the hull, because you'll just lose more armor. That must be a bug. In some sense. Alright, so we know now that the Gatlings on the Hornet can do a reasonable amount of damage. Let's see how much damage we can do now with 10-second burst. When shields are enabled. Shields should be enabled now. Same place. See that little white patch? Let's try it. Let's just move it a little bit. Let's try to shoot. So, if I target it, shields are completely on. Alright. No components. 10-second burst. 3, 2, 1.
Check fire. Check fire.
About 10 seconds burst. Whoa, a little bit too much speed. Alright. Let's see how much damage we did to the armor. With shields enabled. Alright, let's see. 90%, so 2% with shield enabled. That's interesting. Given the fact that... No, that's okay actually. So 2%, 5% without shields, about 5% without shields, 2% with. Still, it's one gun, it's for 10 seconds. Let's try to do stock Hornet. It's a Super Hornet with the Heartseeker stuff on, but everything else I left stock. Let's see how much damage we can do. Shoot everything we have for 10 seconds. And see how much we can strip the armor. Remember, this is a capital ship, a big ship. It's not an Idris, but still. And this is one Hornet. One freaking Hornet. Let's go. Alright, all weapons enabled. Let's see if it does anything, any difference that I shoot directly at the same spot. Shouldn't, because armor is basically just sort of a whole clump that is around the ship. But in any case, let's test it. So we're going to shoot for 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. I'm terribly sorry if my recording has been a little bit janky up until this point. it turns out, unfortunately, that I had still anti-micro X enabled, and I have started and stopped the recording a whole lot of times. Hopefully I can salvage most of it, but if that's not the case, then sorry for a very janky video. In any case, now that we are recording right now, let's see what we can do. 10 seconds. Let me just get the phone, because why not use my clock in my phone to get completely accurate measurement. I'm ready to synchronize. 3, 2, 1, go.
Check fire. Check fire. Check fire.
That was. Alright. Remember, shield was enabled this time around. We're going to do a whole lot of more testing, but let's just get into the Polaris and see if we actually did any damage, any real damage. To the armor, to everything. And just to be clear, in the last patch, I could destroy a Polaris. I will admittedly, it was with full ballistic setup, but still, I could destroy the Polaris with one Hornet. Now, I don't know about you, but I find that to be extremely overpowered, extremely unbalanced. I mean, it's insane. Alright, let's go and take a look and see what we got. 96%, so 10 seconds burst. Removed about 4% of the armor. Now, you may think that's not too bad, because, I mean, shields is on fully, everything is... So you may think that's not too bad. That's actually pretty okay, but remember again, it's one Hornet. It's one Hornet. And those guns, honestly, in my opinion, should not do any damage whatsoever to this to this ship. At all. I mean, at all. Alright, this time we're going to try to attack a component. We are going to disable shields. We are now at 96%. Let's see how much our laser repeaters can remove. Alright, we're now in the Hornet, and I have turned over to only had the Panthers available. I don't think there's any need for doing a 10-second burst, because they ran out of juice way before the 10 seconds were over. So we're just going to give it 75 shots on the armor. Size 3 Panther repeaters. Let's do it.
Check fire. Check fire.
There we go. We're now at the terminal, and we managed to reduce from, what was it, 96 to 94. So just with repeaters alone, we peeled off about 4%. That's significant in my opinion. Alright, let's turn shields back on, full powered shields. And let's see if we can damage some components. When you attack the power plant, you can destroy the ship. But this time we're just going to shoot everything we got. Everything. Just plow it on down into this poor Polaris and see what happens. Especially I'm interested in seeing what happens when we remove all the... Can we remove what we got? All the armor? And can we get the structural integrity down to 0 as well? Because that could very well make the power plant go super critical or critical. But let's see what we can get. I'll see you in the Hornet. Alright, so if I'm not mistaken, this should be the cooler. And we're just going to... Let's just give it... I don't know. Let's give it... let's give it a minute. Whole minute of shooting. and see what happens. So, are you ready? I am ready. So, 3, 2, 1, fire.
Check fire.
I wonder if that is the visualization of the splash damage.
Check fire. 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 Check fire.
Alright. That's what she also wrote. See, we almost managed to pull the shields down in a freaking Hornet. In the words of Superman, I am not impressed. But let's see how much damage we actually did. Maybe we didn't do as much damage as I'm fearing. Let's start by looking at, so we had 78%. That's not terrible. That's actually not terrible. So let's see the 3D overview. Oh, this is red. And the cooler, let me just get rid of the doors. The cooler is 100%. That's actually interesting. Let's try to attack it from below. It shouldn't do any difference, but because there is a value of how much you can penetrate, we do have something that is red out here. Let's see if I go to show emergencies. This is red, but it's because I've hit it. Get a little closer. See, this is the cooler. Go for 1 minute again. 1 whole minute. 3, 2, 1, start.
Check fire. 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 Check fire.
Shields are still up.
Check fire.
But they're coming down. Alright, time's up. Don't have any warnings. No emergencies. Cooler health is 100%. Power plant is 100%. We had 61%, but we also lost some hull. And again, remember, this is just one Hornet. Alright, we are now at roughly the max range of the repeaters here. And I still have it. You want to roughly aim somewhere between the engines. And the reason why I'm doing this is because usually in order to kill a ship like this, you would stay out of the range of it and do some circling around in order to be able to avoid getting hit. We should be the range of the Panther repeaters is 2.5 kilometers. That should be the lowest. So we should be able to just plow it down now. So let's just go.
Check fire.
Alright, let's see how much damage we did. These are, in my opinion, good signs compared to what I did yesterday. So even though it's not really reflected, it seems that they may have made some changes to how all of this is going. But let's see how much damage we managed to do, because that's really what matters. That's a good sign. That took a little bit of damage. Power plant took no damage. And armor's completely depleted. Hull is 89%. That is actually, honestly, not terrible. But and this got 96.76%. Should a Hornet be able to deplete the armor of a capital ship? No. No, it should not. Definitely not. Definitely not. But I guess that's what CIG is going with. In any case, I can show you the repair routine. So one of the really cool things about this is that you can pull out this little tool here and repair up to 100%. And now it should look as really nice as it can. Show emergencies. The only emergency we have is the gun down here. Panther repeater here, they are toast. But other than that, no issues. Now let's see if we can make the power plant go critical and destroy the ship. So I'm going to, in this case here, turn... Wait a minute. Oh, that's guns. Guns are damaged, yeah. I am going to turn shields off. And we're going to use laser repeaters alone to see what we can do when we're close. But at distance, you know what? Screw it. We're going to turn shields on instead. Turn shields on. Instead, we're going to use missiles, because missiles also has the ability to start fire. Alright, let's fire a couple of missiles and see what happens.
Check fire. Check fire.
Alright, no fires is a good sign. So emergencies. Other than that. Yeah, seems okay. Alright. Next up, we're going to test, see how much damage the Perseus can do. So I will get this ship repaired, and I will get something to drink and pull out the Perseus, and I will see you in a little bit. Here she is. In my opinion, and I'm not saying this lightly, one of the most beautiful ships we have in the game right now. It looks so badass with that profile it has, the big guns on top. It's insane. I love it. It should only have a little bit more durability. Now we're going to test and see how well the Polaris armor, full shields and everything, fare against a couple of shots from the Medusas. But first we're going to test a couple of the size 5 torpedoes. See if they get mad at us. The station gets mad at me for shooting my own ship. Alright. Bombs away. Yeah.
Check fire.
It's a little bit annoying, but okay, so finally I managed to get it all done with a little bit of a server error going on and all of that. But we are now behind the Polaris. We have 4 torpedoes armed, Reapers, and let's just let it rip and see how much damage a full spread can do. Bombs away.
Check fire.
Direct hit at the area with the...
Check fire.
Last fall.
Check fire.
Alright, we're inside the Polaris and let's go check the terminal. Remember, all torpedoes were thrown at it. So armor's down to 87%. No real damage to anything here. No. Alright, cool. I'll get the fighter out and get the stuff that I left on the Polaris, and then we'll see the next test. I just wanted to quickly show you these weird graphical glitches that seems to be indicative of fire, but there's no fire here at all. You see, we have them here, we have them in the bridge. Oh, right there, yeah. It's a little bit annoying. Sometimes I get the red bulkhead. Let me see if I can get it to show. No, not this time. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. It's really, really weird and it's really annoying. Alright, I will see you when we are ready for the next phase of the test. We are now back in the seat of one of the turrets on the Perseus. We have the Mantis armed now, but I want the... See if I can use this. Should able to change between the Medusas. Yeah. And they should be set to staggered firing. So, see if I can find our little friend. Who's over here? Let me zoom in a little bit. If I can find a component or something like that. Maybe if I targeted him, it would have been easier. There's the power plant. Let's just try to fire one shot and see what happens.
Check fire.
Definitely did something happen. Let's fire one more.
Check fire.
Let's go check. First off, no warnings. But power plant is down to 40%. 2 shots, 40%. And see, it didn't even deplete the armor here, so that's cool. That shows just how much penetration these bombshells they have. Let's go down and give it a little bit of a repair. Because it certainly needs it. It's still an extremely slow process repairing the power plant. Let's get it up to 50% and see if we can make it go critical. Or it will just shut down. I think I'll drive the Perseus up next to the Polaris, so I can get in and out a little bit easier. Let's see if we can kill the power plant on that Polaris. Alright, let's instead see how long it will take to kill an engine pod, because apparently I can't hit the engine from here. So let's see how many shots.
Check fire. Check fire.
7 shots. Only freaking 7. That should be the power plant. Have it. Where was it? It's so hard to find. There it is. Alright. Ready? Remember, it's only 50%. 1 shot.
Check fire.
2 shots. 3 shots. 4.
Check fire.
Oh, we removed an engine instead. Alright, let's see. One shot.
Fire.
2, 3. Removed another engine. Apparently I can't see the engines. Let's try again.
Check fire. Check fire.
Oh, I think it's going to blow. Yeah. So it's still hard to soft death the ship in this way. I mean, maybe if I waited a little bit, the engine would... the power plant would stop working. But, as you can see, still a little bit hard. Alright, final test of the day is to see how our little Perseus is going to fare with full shields and everything against a Hornet. Because I have an idea that it's not going to look pretty. That I'm pretty sure is the power plant. Alright, let's see. We got all guns on, I think. So let's just
Check fire.
that might be the power plant that there as well. I think what I'm shooting right now is the... let's try to go a little bit up. Probably the quantum drive instead. Yeah, it's a little bit hard there. Alright, let's try.
Check fire. Check fire.
I'm taking it in small bursts because I don't want to kill the power plant,
Check fire.
give it too much damage. Or let's try to do it a little bit more controlled. Let's take the Revenant instead. Yep, there it goes. So it seems that it's really difficult to soft death or disable the ship in this build here. So there's definitely need for CIG to increase the survivability of these ships. I also think, in my honest opinion, that these ships, they are way too fragile for what they're supposed to be, especially against something like a fighter like this. In my opinion, that's just my opinion, a single fighter like this, a Hornet, even with size 5 guns, should not be able to do much against even a Perseus. That armor should be so thick that it should be at least size 5. The top turret here, yeah, sure, they can do some damage. It should be minimum damage. Anything less should do nothing. Nothing at all. Maybe just, I mean, a smidge of damage. And the suggestion I have made for CIG is to, instead of have this penetration value and all of that, you need to think about how armor generally works. Armor works in a way that you have what you call X amount of millimeters of homogeneous armor. Now, armor is very rarely homogeneous, but this is how you can sort of quantify it. So the way you usually quantify this is by saying you have these X amounts of homogeneous armor, and then you'll try to figure out how much can you penetrate. So in most cases, it's not sort of just on and off. Obviously, if you have a weapon, you can penetrate a certain amount of the armor, but the point here being is that either you have full penetration and whatever it is you're attacking with can come through and inside the vessel, or you don't have penetration. And that is why my opinion is, instead of having it with these penetration values and whatever they have that I don't really understand how they're actually calculating it, but they should have said this ship has a certain amount of millimeters of homogeneous armor. You could say it's non-homogeneous, doesn't matter, but it should be defined as homogeneous armor. Then you have a certain range of weapons that can penetrate a certain amount of homogeneous armor. Either there's penetration, there's not penetration, meaning if I shoot something that doesn't have enough penetration to get through, the bullet would just sit inside the armor somewhere. And the probability that you can sort of hit a bullet on a bullet on a bullet and a bullet and then sort of squeeze it through the armor is very, very unlikely. So, simple setup. Let's say, for instance, that the Perseus has 500 millimeters of homogeneous armor. And let's say that the Revenants, they can penetrate 250 millimeters of homogeneous armor. And the TMSBs or TSMBs or whatever they call, 5s on top, the Heartseeker turret, they can penetrate 550 or 510 or maybe just 505 millimeters of homogeneous armor. So just barely penetrate. You have to be aware that we're dealing with two instances here. One is penetration value, the other is energy. And I know this gets kind of complex in the length, but if you have just millimeters of penetrating armor, and then you have a value where the amount of penetration you have above the value, so let's say for instance 500 millimeters, right? And the TMSB's 5, they can penetrate 505. That is about 1%. So in that case, 1% of the energy would come through, right? Let's say instead that it could penetrate 600 millimeters, so that's 16%. So 16% of the damage would come through in this case here. What this means is that, and this is what I wanted CIG to do, is a fighter like this, especially a light fighter with, let's say it has to about size 4 weapons. I can't remember what the Gladius has, but size 4 seems somewhat reasonable. That fighter should not be able to do anything at all. Anything with Gatlings. Because if we go to cannons instead, because then you have larger slugs, meaning that you can have a lot more penetrative value. So for example, in this case here, you could say, well, a size 5 cannon would have a penetrating value of 1 meter. 1 entire meter. That means that 50% of the damage would go through the armor. And obviously, as you pound on the armor, it will gradually lose a little bit of coherence. But, and this is where I think that this is important, where they say the penetrative, for example, the penetrative value of armor for ballistics is higher. There's no penetration at all with energy weapons. Instead, what they can do is they can melt the armor. Now, I know that ideally we would have sections of armor. And I think they can already do that because we have different sections of the ship that has hull damage. They have different hull damage sections, so they should be able to transfer the same system over, which I guess is basically Maelstrom, the same system over to the armor instead. So for example, you have hull armor, you have, and in that way you can actually make weak points on the ship, but that's more advanced. Generally speaking, instead of having a system as I see it right now, where any weapon, even a size 1 Gatling, can penetrate the armor on, for example, the Perseus just by hitting it enough. It will take longer, but it's just a matter of hitting it. Keep hitting, and eventually the armor would break down. I mean, heck, I think, and that's one of the tests I want to do tomorrow. Take a normal, I have the big shotgun that you can buy at Levski. Take that and try to shoot at the Perseus and see if you can actually damage the armor. And my fear is that you can actually do that. I mean, a 50 cal is a pretty big weapon, but still, if you fire a 50 cal at a big tank, I'm not sure that much would happen. You need a bigger slug in order to hit. But I don't know that. But in any case, 50 cal, that's a big slug, right? A big projectile, so that could penetrate the armor. Also depends on the gun you're shooting it off and all of that. But generally speaking, instead of having it so all guns can penetrate the armor, certain guns, certain weapons should not be able to do. And that is my opinion. I think this is one of the issues that they may have introduced by reverting the energy from on the weapons from very low to very high, is that there is too little of a threshold from when you disable the power plant to you make it go critical and explode. I mean, it seems to me, because ideally on the Perseus you should have about a minute and a half or something like that time before it explodes, and on the Polaris you should have about 5 minutes or 6 minutes or something like that before it goes critical. So I think that I'm not sure because I don't have access to the numbers, but compared to my earlier test where a person actually managed to disable my power plant, which is Idris, and then I could repair it and fly it back and dock it and repair it fully. That was brilliant, man. That was completely insanely brilliant, and I loved it. But apparently right now, when you shoot something, it just blows up, unfortunately. It may be from the damage of the weapons. That may be. It may also be a side effect from the fact that they made some changes, like I said, and I'm pretty sure that's still there, where when you shoot a ship with your weapons, it will blow up. You know what? Let's test it right now. All right, we are now where we should be, and we should be able to get a target lock on this guy here. Let's just give him 4 missiles because I'm crazy. Nope. We're going to do it with guns. There he is. What is he flying? What the fuck is that?
Shields hit.
Need help. I'm losing ship systems.
Shields hit.
A little help here.
No one is here to help you, my friend.
Help me.
Shields hit.
What kind of noises are those? So as you can see, they are made to explode. That's the point. Point being, as you probably can imagine here, if they have transferred the same way they explode to our ships, to player ships, as they have, because they said that it should be distinguished between it. But if it doesn't, then it will explain why, I mean, just tapping the power plant on a ship just a tiny bit would ruin it completely. So, yeah. In any case, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and will see me in the next one. Bye-bye.